I found lately that while I enjoy the process of writing and recording my videos, the part that I'm never quite so good at is the editing. So I'd like to announce that I am currently seeking editors for my YouTube channel. Probably two individuals, but I really don't have any specific number in mind. I wouldn't be opposed to more people being, on retainer, so to say. I wouldn't necessarily have the funding, to hire out for like literally every video that I make, like a whole bunch of business right away. But it's my hope that I could give each person that I bring on at least one video per month to work on, and hopefully, again, as time goes by, I'll be able to give more work, as we go along, and as my productivity can improve, as income levels improve, all those sorts of things. So let's talk about requirements. I want you to edit the Brands and F videos, but what exactly does a Brands and F video entail? Well, first of all, I would not send you an entirely raw video clip. Much like this one has been done up, I would go through and sync up the audio with the video. As well, I would cut out any moments that I do not want to be shown, things like where I stumble and have to do a second take of something, much like that. I will send you a file that looks exactly like this current video and then ask you to pick it up from here. With that, I'd like you to aim for roughly 4 edits per minute of footage on average. Those edits would take the form of pretty much what you're used to. Things like flashing historical images on the screen and fading in and out, fading into wider panoramas and scrolling across them like you saw me do in my Zulu videos recently. Maybe some, again, very basic level animations, like a figure moving across the bottom of my screen, or perhaps a block moving from one side of the screen to another to represent an army moving across a map, that kind of thing. And like I said, of course, if I ever give some sort of a comedic reference, maybe a little zoom in on my face for the reaction, and then zoom back out, again, in proper time. Basically, I want you to make sure there's enough stuff happening on the screen so there's no incredibly long moments of me just standing here all boring like, the sort of thing that you're watching right now, just lecturing on and on and on as I go. Like I said, I'm looking for a very rough average of approximately 4 noticeable edits per minute of footage. So around every 15 seconds or so, and of course those edits would each take a few seconds themselves. So I think that it results in a pretty visually varied experience for the viewer. Again, treat it as a broad average. Some videos may need more, and others may not be so complex, and they would demand less edits. Even within a single video, there may be long portions where there's very little, if any, editing necessary at all, but then there may be other sections where I'm rattling off all sorts of statistics. 100 men marched for 20 days, eating 2 pounds of bread per day, or rations per day, and each wagon can only carry 200 pounds of munitions at rations at any given point. Ergo, you need to have 10 wagons can last you for exactly this long on a march, and You get the picture, I'm sure. But the thing is that picture would certainly be a lot more clear, especially given how much I was stumbling there. It was a little off the cuff. It would be a lot nicer, of course, to have some fancy editing all around me to reflect that picture. I would also like some music to be included in more of my videos, and putting appropriate music in the background would also be a part of that job. For my part, I will be providing a hopefully ever-expanding library of music for you to use that is either copyright-free or that I got permission to use. So it's not like I'm saying, go find me some music. No, I'll be like, hey, here's the list of things you can choose from. Find something that you know works, and I would have my own ideas as far as what I'd like. As well, I'm going to be putting together a library of historical images, thoroughly sorted through and labeled and that you could also pull from. Of course, not every necessary image will always be in that library, and especially very early on, while that image library is still being built up, a significant part of your time would be you going out and finding appropriate images on your own. And then, of course, we can throw it into the library and sort through it all to have it for future reference. Of course, if I want anything in particular, like pictures or photos or videos or whatever, and I usually do always have a few things in mind, then I will make sure to communicate that with you, and I'll give you timestamps like, hey, I want this picture to flash at this point, things like that. And similarly, of course, if you had any questions or concerns about whether a piece is appropriate in any given context, well, naturally, we would both be in good communication throughout the process, with each other, to make sure that we're all on the same page. And if you have any questions, you feel free to ask me, of course. In any case, thank you all so very much for your consideration and for applications and all that kind of stuff. I hope this is all going to be fun, and I hope that it allows me to be a lot more productive on this channel than I've otherwise been. And of course, until the next time, my dear viewer, I am and I shall remain your most humble and obedient of servants.